There's a moment in every connection that most people never notice, yet it quietly decides everything that comes next. It's the moment when something shifts beneath the surface, when a woman moves from simple curiosity to emotional investment, from casually enjoying your presence to slowly needing it. And here's the truth most men never hear. This moment is not rare. It happens all the time, but most men miss it completely. Not because it's invisible, not because it's complicated, but because no one ever taught them how to recognize it. So ask yourself this honestly. Have you ever felt like a woman was getting closer to you emotionally, but you couldn't quite explain why? Or worse, you felt something real forming only to lose it without understanding what went wrong? The reason this happens is simple. Men and women speak different emotional languages. Men are wired to listen for direct statements, clear words, obvious intentions, straightforward signals. Women, especially when emotions are involved, communicate in layers. She may never come out and say, "I'm falling for you." She might not openly admit, "I feel safe with you," or "You matter to me more than you realize." But that doesn't mean those feelings aren't there. They're simply expressed in quieter, subtler ways. And unless you're grounded enough to hear that language, it passes right by you. Her words, her pauses, her timing, her tone, these things are not random, they're signals. And when you know what to listen for, they reveal exactly how she feels. Before we go any further, you need to understand something important. Emotional words alone don't equal emotional investment. A woman can say something vulnerable without being deeply attached, just as she can be deeply invested without ever saying anything emotional at all. What matters is context. What matters is consistency. What matters is emotional depth. That's where the truth lives. And today, we're going to break down the hidden cues, the phrases, the emotional signals that reveal when a woman is truly invested in you. Not surface-level attention, not compliments, not how often she texts. These are the deeper signs that show she sees you as more than a distraction, more than a fling, more than someone who simply fills time. Let's begin with the first hidden phrase, one of the most powerful indicators of emotional investment a woman can offer. "I've never told anyone this before." When a woman says something like this, she's not just sharing information, she's sharing access. Access to parts of herself that most people never get to touch. Her past, her insecurities, her private thoughts, the things she's learned to protect. Emotional investment doesn't start with flirting or laughter. That's easy, that's surface level. Emotional investment begins the moment she feels safe enough to be emotionally vulnerable. When she lets you into her inner world, she's telling you, without realizing it, "I trust you. I feel emotionally safe with you." In today's world where almost everyone is guarded, that kind of safety is rare. And this is where most men make a critical mistake. Some rush in and try to fix her problems. Others overanalyze, interrogate, or drown her vulnerability in shallow reassurance. And some shut down completely, overwhelmed by the weight of what she just shared. But a grounded, stoic man responds differently. He listens not to reply, but to understand. He holds space without judgment. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't rush, doesn't perform. He stays present, calm, and focused. And that calm presence does something powerful. It makes her feel even safer. It makes her open up more. It deepens the attachment. So the next time a woman opens up and says, "I've never told anyone this before," pay attention. That's not small talk. That's not oversharing. That's a green light. That's her saying, "You're not like the rest." She's inviting you into her emotional world. And once a woman gives you access to her truth, her wounds, her inner reality, you're no longer just a man in her life. You become part of her story. But that trust must be honored. You don't need to match her vulnerability immediately. You simply need to meet it with respect. Because at the core of every woman's heart is the desire to be seen without being exposed. And when you become the man who can offer that, her investment doesn't just grow, it stays. The second hidden phrase that reveals deep emotional investment often sounds simple, almost casual, yet it carries far more weight than most men realize. "What do you think I should do?" On the surface, it might feel like an ordinary question, but when a woman begins asking for your opinion on personal matters, especially when those matters involve her emotions, relationships, family, or major life choices, it signals something significant. This isn't about curiosity, this is about trust. She's opening the door to her inner decision-making process and inviting you inside. Women don't ask just anyone for guidance in moments of emotional uncertainty. They choose someone who feels steady, calm, and emotionally clear. When she asks for your opinion, she's showing that she values your perspective. She respects how you think. She sees you as someone whose presence brings clarity rather than pressure. In that moment, you're no longer just someone she enjoys talking to. You become someone whose judgment matters in her life. This is where many men go wrong. They confuse influence with control. They jump straight into fixing, instructing, or directing. They treat her question like a problem to solve instead of an emotional space to hold. But she's not asking you to run her life. She's testing something deeper, your emotional leadership. She wants to know if you can stay grounded when she's uncertain, if you can listen without imposing, if you can help her return to her own clarity rather than replacing it with yours. A stoic response is never rushed. It's thoughtful and calm. Instead of giving orders, you guide her inward. You ask questions that help her hear herself. You might say, "What do you feel is the right choice?" Or, "What's the part of this that's really bothering you?" When you respond this way, she doesn't feel managed, she feels understood. And that understanding strengthens emotional attachment in ways advice never could. The next phrase often arrives quietly, without drama, but it marks a clear psychological shift. "I thought about you when..." It might be something small, a book, a song, a moment in her day, but the meaning beneath it is powerful. You're no longer only present when you're together. You exist in her emotional world even when you're not around. She's beginning to associate you with her experiences, her moods, her environment. This isn't just attraction. This is attachment taking root. Women naturally form emotional patterns. When external moments remind her of you, it means you've left an imprint. You've become part of her inner narrative. And this is where many men miss an opportunity. They brush it off, joke it away, or respond without depth. But when she shares a "this reminded me of you" moment, she's offering you access to her emotional memory. She's showing you that you matter beyond the interaction itself. The grounded response is to meet her there, to acknowledge it, to gently explore it. You might ask what made her think of you or share a similar moment of your own. This isn't about forcing connection, it's about reflecting it. And when a woman feels that her investment is being mirrored, not exaggerated, not dismissed, it creates emotional safety. That safety is what makes attachment deepen naturally. Another powerful phrase that signals emotional investment is, "I'm not usually like this around people." This statement isn't really about behavior, it's about emotional disarmament. Most people move through the world wearing psychological armor, women especially. They're constantly navigating expectations, projections, and judgment. So when she notices herself opening up more easily around you, laughing more, sharing more, letting her guard down, it surprises her. And when she verbalizes that shift, she's acknowledging that something is different with you. This moment matters because it means you didn't force closeness, you didn't push, you didn't manipulate. You simply created a space where she felt safe enough to be herself. When a woman feels like she doesn't need a mask around you, that bond becomes rare and powerful. People become emotionally invested in those who allow them to reconnect with who they truly are. Stoic presence plays a key role here. When you're calm, non-reactive, and grounded, you're not emotionally demanding, you're not seeking validation, you're simply present. And that stillness gives her permission to relax into her truth. So if she ever says, "I'm not usually like this," understand what she's really communicating. She's not confused, she's not apologizing, she's revealing that her walls are down and her investment is growing. One of the most emotionally revealing phrases a woman can say is, "I feel like I can tell you anything." To some men, this line sounds harmless, even dangerous, as if it places them in the friend category. But that interpretation couldn't be further from the truth. When a woman says this from a place of warmth and sincerity, she's expressing something far deeper than comfort. She's telling you she feels emotionally safe with you. And emotional safety is not a downgrade in attraction, it's the foundation of lasting desire. Attraction can be sparked by many things. Chemistry can be created by a few, but emotional grounding is rare. When a woman feels free to share the unfiltered parts of herself without fear of judgment, rejection, or misunderstanding, she begins investing emotionally without realizing it. This isn't about you becoming her therapist, it's about your ability to stay present with her truth. And when a woman feels heard without being corrected or managed, her attachment deepens naturally. Stoic strength shows itself here. True self-mastery isn't emotional detachment, it's the ability to contain emotion without being overwhelmed by it. When she feels that you can hold space for her feelings without losing your balance, she starts to trust you on a deeper level. Responding with calm presence, listening fully, asking thoughtful questions, maintaining eye contact, and not rushing to fix anything reinforces that safety. And the safer she feels, the more she opens up. Another phrase that often goes unnoticed but carries immense meaning is, "You make me feel calm." It may not sound exciting or romantic, but it's one of the most powerful compliments a woman can give. In a world that constantly overstimulates and overwhelms women, calm is rare. When she says this, she's acknowledging that your presence regulates her emotionally. Her nervous system settles around you. She feels grounded. She doesn't have to perform or stay alert. Most men bring emotional chaos into relationships without realizing it. They over-explain, overreact, seek reassurance, and try too hard to impress. That energy becomes exhausting over time. But when you show up steady, composed, and present, not distant, not arrogant, you become a refuge. And when a woman associates you with peace rather than tension, she forms a deep emotional bond. Calmness turns attraction into attachment. That calm is what makes her want to be near you more often, not out of need, but out of comfort and trust. A strong indicator of emotional investment also appears when she shows a genuine interest in understanding your emotions, not just how you're doing on the surface, but what's happening underneath. She notices when something is off, when your tone shifts, when your silence lingers longer than usual. And she asks, not to control or invade, but because your emotional well-being matters to her. She wants to support you. She wants to know you. This kind of emotional curiosity is intimate. It means she's trying to understand how to connect with you on a deeper level. A stoic man understands that strength isn't the absence of emotion, it's mastery over it. Opening up calmly, honestly, without drama or self-pity builds trust rather than weakens it. When she meets her curiosity with grounded transparency, it creates a bond that is both romantic and deeply human. As emotional investment deepens, another sign emerges. She begins integrating you into her life. You're no longer separate from her world. She introduces you to friends, brings you into family settings, includes you in future discussions, and seeks your opinion on decisions that matter. This isn't casual, it's vulnerable. It's her saying she sees a future with you, even if she hasn't said it out loud. Women don't bring just anyone into their inner circle. When she does this, she's risking judgment and exposure because she believes in the connection. You may notice her language shifting from I to we. Her questions about the future are no longer hypothetical, they're emotional bridges. The Stoic response here is calm participation, not pressure or avoidance. Emotional investment grows when you show steadiness in moments that matter. Perhaps the strongest sign of all is how emotionally affected she becomes by you. When she's invested, your mood influences hers. Your distance creates unease. Your joy lifts her. Your silence is felt, not ignored. This isn't dependency, it's emotional attunement. It means you matter deeply to her internal world. A Stoic man respects this power. He doesn't exploit her sensitivity. He communicates clearly. He offers reassurance without feeding insecurity. He holds space when emotions run high. Because when a woman entrusts you with emotional influence, she's offering something rare, her vulnerability. If you recognize even a few of these signs, understand this: you're not dealing with casual interest, you're experiencing emotional commitment. But the deeper truth is this: how you respond matters just as much as what she shows. A grounded man doesn't just receive affection, he honors it. He meets vulnerability with presence. And when you do that, you don't just create attraction, you create connection that lasts. Stay observant, stay grounded, and lead with quiet strength.